Obviously, you're in contact with the German government, and they've become one of the 5 new non-permanent members of the Security Council. And I believe that Germany is going to use their United Nations Security Council seat to make a case for reform. Are they actually in contact with you regarding the Parliamentary Assembly?
The German government, as far as we can tell, does not support the idea of a global parliamentary assembly. So what the German foreign minister and the foreign ministry have in mind when they speak about reform, they have in mind Security Council reform. And more specifically, the German foreign ministry is seeking to secure a permanent seat for Germany in any Security Council reform. So I would say that it's very short-sighted as well.
Yes.
And especially as there are already 2 permanent members from Europe on the Council.
How open is the United Nations culture to change?
I think there is a culture of reform, and in terms of management reform, a lot has been done since Kofi Annan's tenure as Secretary General.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that the administration is very much dependent on how nation states actually mandate reforms, and how nation states actually take influence on the bureaucrats they appoint to take office in various functions at the UN. So the UN administration always, as soon as a specific reform is being presented, nation states consider what effect it would have on their own influence at the UN. And this means that the whole matter of reform is highly politicized.
Yes.
In this regard, I believe a parliamentary assembly would make a difference as well.
Yes.
Because in contrast to government representatives, elected representatives, parliamentarians, they would be able to address issues which government representatives could not, because the government's representatives, they would always have to fear repercussions on the diplomatic relations of their country.
Oh, okay.
But a parliamentarian, he does not represent his country. He represents his constituents. He does not take instructions from his capital. He answers to his own personal consciousness. So, for example, there was the oil for food scandal, when oil was sold despite the sanctions on Iraq mandated by the Security Council, and a lot of bureaucrats at the UN themselves were involved. So it was difficult actually to get an objective picture on what was happening, because of course countries whose representatives or bureaucrats were affected, they tried to divert the attention elsewhere in the process of investigation. And the UN Parliamentary Assembly, I believe, it would be much more forceful in looking into such subjects.
What other things do you have set up to promote your campaign?
Well, the campaign rests on several different pillars. The most important pillar is probably our interaction with members of parliament all around the world. There are, like I mentioned it already, 900 from over 90 countries at this time, and we will continue to work on that field, meaning that we will continue to reach out to elected representatives and to speak with them, specifically in the United States as well, because I believe that after all, it will be possible to build a group of supporting US congressmen. We just need to find the right way how to approach them and how to actually speak about the specifics of this proposal and why it's in the best interest of the United States. So the one pillar is parliamentarians, the second pillar is governments, and we have taken an important step now as we are determined to bring the proposal more strongly to government representatives and to ask them to take a position, because
Yes.
most governments, they do not have given it a thought until now, and we will try to change that. A third important pillar is interaction with civil society organizations. Actually, the campaign started as a campaign of different non-governmental organizations, and in this sphere, we are, we have the potential of creating more awareness and to bring in civil society around the world. And another important pillar is the academic world, where we are also working with a lot of scholars, university professors, and experts in order to address important specifics regarding the whole concept and proposal. So we will continue to work in these 4 areas. Maybe I can add one more point.
Sure, absolutely.
Because I don't believe that advocacy in the traditional sense will actually bring about a change of the international system. It is only a part. What will bring about this change is a change in the arithmetic of world power and world politics, a change in geopolitics. For example, let's imagine that China will develop into a multi-party democracy.
Okay.
And then just consider what impact that would have on world politics, a democratic China. And I believe that if that happens, and I think that's quite possible in the next 5 to 10 or 15 years, our campaign will have built a network, will have developed expertise, and we will be ready to step in and to seize the opportunity to actually bring the reform of international institutions on the agenda with the help of China, for example, a democratic China and other countries. So the bottom line is that this change will have to come as a result from changes in the world system. For example, it is already happening as economic power shifts to the south and the east, away from the west and north already.